The encroachment. Captain Ilara Voss stood motionless at the observation deck of the UES Harbinger, Earth's newest and most formidable warship. At 42, she had the steady hands of a surgeon and eyes that had witnessed the expansion of humanity across 3 star systems. Her salt and pepper hair was cropped close to her scalp. Military regulation, though she kept it that way long before joining the United Earth Fleet. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Riza Khan's voice crackled through her comm unit. Long-range sensors have detected 3 unidentified vessels entering the Arcturus perimeter. They're not responding to standard hailing frequencies. Voss's jaw tightened. Arcturus was humanity's newest colony, still in its infancy with only 50,000 souls braving the frontier. I'm on my way to the bridge. Maintain yellow alert status. The bridge of the Harbinger was a marvel of human engineering, a seamless blend of holographic interfaces and tactile controls designed to give its crew both technological advantage and instinctive command capability. As Voss entered, the atmosphere tensed perceptibly. On screen, she ordered, settling into her command chair. The main view screen shifted to show 3 vessels unlike anything in humanity's database. They resembled massive manta rays, their hulls iridescent and seemingly fluid, changing colors as they moved through space. Beautiful, but undeniably alien. Broadcast on all frequencies, all languages in the database, Voss commanded. This is Captain Ilara Voss of the United Earth Ship Harbinger. You have entered restricted space. Please identify yourselves and state your purpose. For several tense moments, there was only silence. Then a response came, not through the communication systems, but directly into the minds of everyone on the bridge. Primitive vessels, primitive minds. Your territory is inconsequential. We are the Netheri. We claim this system by right of superior existence. Several officers winced at the intrusion. Voss remained impassive, though her knuckles whitened as she gripped the arms of her chair. They're scanning us, reported Lieutenant Japark from the tactical station. Deep scans. They're penetrating our outer defensive layers. Shields up, Voss ordered calmly. Defensive posture only. Lieutenant Chen, continue attempts at diplomatic communication. Explain that we're willing to discuss territorial claims through proper channels. Chen nodded, his fingers dancing across his console. Meanwhile, the alien vessels continued their approach, their formation tightening into what any military strategist would recognize as an attack pattern. Your defenses are insignificant. Your technology is rudimentary. Submit to scans and prepare for assessment of resource value. Voss exchanged a glance with her XO, Commander Viktor Orlov. The burly Russian's expression mirrored her own thoughts. These weren't explorers or diplomats. These were conquerors who had encountered what they believed to be an easy target. Captain, Orlov murmured, the Arcturus colony is vulnerable. If those vessels bypass us, they won't, Voss stated with quiet certainty. She opened a shipwide channel. All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill. Throughout the massive warship, klaxons blared as crew members rushed to their positions. The Harbinger had never been tested in actual combat. It was designed as a deterrent, a show of human ingenuity and determination. Now that theory would be put to practice. The alien vessels suddenly accelerated, their formation breaking apart as they encircled the Harbinger. They're charging weapons, Park reported, voice tight but controlled. Your resistance is noted. It is futile. We have conquered 12 species more advanced than yours. Prepare for. The mental transmission cut off abruptly as Voss gave a single nod to Park. The tactical officer's hand came down on his console, activating the Harbinger's newly developed psionic dampening field, a technology born from humanity's brief and unfortunate encounter with the hive-minded Scaril a decade earlier. Let's see how they like fighting without their telepathy, Voss said. Mr. Park, target their propulsion systems. Warning shots only. The Harbinger's main cannons fired, precise, controlled bursts of energy that flashed past the alien vessels, close enough to demonstrate accuracy, but deliberately missing their targets. The response was immediate. The alien ships scattered, clearly surprised by the accuracy of human weaponry. Then, as if in collective outrage, they regrouped and launched their attack. Brilliant beams of violet energy lashed out from the lead Netheri ship, striking the Harbinger's shields. The human vessel shuddered under the impact. Shields holding at 83%, Park reported. Their weapons are powerful, but the modulation is predictable. Voss leaned forward in her chair. Deploy countermeasures. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity. The battle that followed would later be recorded as the Arcturus engagement, the first true combat between humanity and the Netheri. What the aliens expected to be a simple subjugation quickly evolved into a sobering lesson. The Harbinger moved with surprising agility for its size, its defensive systems adapting to each Netheri attack pattern. Meanwhile, its offensive capabilities, carefully restrained by Voss's orders, demonstrated precision that clearly confounded the alien vessels. They're attempting to regroup, Orloff observed as the Netheri vessels pulled back after 15 minutes of failed attacks, possibly to coordinate a new strategy. Voss nodded. They didn't expect resistance, certainly not effective resistance. She turned to Chen. Open a channel, standard broadcast. Let's see if they're ready to talk now. Before Chen could comply, the Netheri attacked again, this time with what appeared to be their full arsenal. The Harbinger rocked violently as multiple energy beams converged on its shields. Shields at 47%. Park called out. They've adapted their weapons. Voss's expression hardened. That's enough. We tried diplomacy. Target the lead vessel's weapons array. Disable only. The Harbinger's main cannons fired again, this time not in warning, but with deliberate precision. The beams struck the lead Netheri ship exactly where intended, causing visible damage to its weapon systems. What followed was not the coordinated retreat of a tactical force, but the panicked flight of predators who had discovered their prey was actually a greater predator in disguise. The damaged Netheri vessel listed to one side while the other two moved to protective positions. This is unexpected, came the mental broadcast, weaker now and tinged with what could only be described as shock. You were not supposed to be capable of this level of resistance. This is Captain Voss, she responded, knowing they could hear her broadcast even if they preferred their telepathic communication. We are capable of far more than what you've witnessed today. I suggest you withdraw from this system immediately. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend what is ours. For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, the three Netheri vessels began to retreat, the damaged one assisted by its companions. We have misjudged, came the final telepathic message. But this encounter is not concluded, humans. The Netheri Imperium does not forgive resistance. As the alien ships disappeared into the darkness of space, Voss turned to her bridge crew. Each face reflected the same mixture of relief, pride, and concern. Damage report, she ordered, already knowing they had been fortunate. The Harbinger had performed admirably, but the ship, like its crew, had never been tested in actual combat before today. Minor damage to decks 12 through 15, Orloff reported. Medical reports 7 injuries, none critical. All systems functional. Voss nodded, but her mind was already racing ahead. Contact Arcturus Command, then Earth Central. The Netheri won't stay away for long, and next time, they won't underestimate us. She paused, looking at the now empty view screen, and neither should we underestimate them. As the Harbinger's crew set about their tasks with newfound purpose, Captain Voss knew that humanity had just experienced its first taste of a larger, more dangerous universe than they had imagined. The Netheri had thought Earth would be an easy conquest, one more primitive species to add to their collection. They had been wrong, and Voss intended to ensure they regretted their mistake. The Reckoning. 3 days after the Arcturus engagement, the UES Harbinger hung in space at the edge of the system, its sensors sweeping the void for any sign of the Netheri's return. Captain Voss had barely slept, reviewing the battle data and coordinating with Earth Central on their response strategy. "They'll be back," she told her assembled senior officers in the ship's conference room. "And they won't come alone." The holographic display at the center of the table showed the projected path the Netheri vessels had taken after retreating. Intelligence analysts had been working nonstop to determine the aliens' point of origin. "We have two options," Voss continued. "Wait for their return with reinforcements, or," she gestured to the holographic star map, "track them to their fleet and demonstrate that humanity is not to be trifled with." Commander Orloff frowned. "Pursuing them could be seen as an act of aggression, Captain. Earth Central has emphasized diplomatic solutions." "Diplomacy works when both parties respect each other," Voss replied. "The Netheri saw us as vermin to be exterminated or enslaved. They need to understand we're equals before meaningful dialogue can begin." Chief Science Officer Dr. Imani O'Keefe cleared her throat. "Captain, during the engagement, I was able to collect significant data on their technology. Most notably, their propulsion system leaves a distinctive quantum signature, one we can track." Voss's eyes narrowed. "How far?" "Far enough," O'Keefe confirmed. "We can find their fleet." The decision was made. Earth Central, recognizing the existential threat the Netheri posed, reluctantly authorized the Harbinger to pursue, not to engage unless absolutely necessary, but to gather intelligence and, if possible, establish proper diplomatic contact from a position of strength. 20 hours later, the Harbinger dropped out of FTL at the coordinates Dr. O'Keefe had calculated. What they found was not a mere fleet, but an armada, dozens of the manta-shaped vessels surrounding a massive mothership nearly 20 times the size of the Harbinger. "Hold position just outside their sensor range," Voss ordered. "Passive scans only." For hours they observed, gathering invaluable intelligence on Netheri formations, communication patterns, and technology. Then Lieutenant Chen made a discovery that changed everything. "Captain," he called from his communication station, "I've been analyzing their transmission patterns. There's something unusual. They're not just communicating with each other. They're reporting to someone else." Voss approached his station. "Explain." Chen's fingers flew across his console. "The Netheri mothership is sending regular data packets to a location approximately 3 light-years from here. The transmission protocol is completely different from what they use among themselves, almost as if they're communicating with another species entirely. Or to their masters," Orloff suggested quietly. The implication hung heavy in the air. If the Netheri were not the top of their food chain, if they were merely the advance force for something larger, humanity's situation was even more precarious than they had thought. "Can we intercept and decode these transmissions?" Voss asked. Chen nodded hesitantly. "I believe so, but it would require boosting our receiver array. They might detect the power surge." "Do it," Voss ordered after a moment's consideration. "We need to know what we're really facing." The risk paid off. Within hours, the Harbinger's advanced AI systems had decrypted enough of the Netheri transmissions to confirm their suspicions. The Netheri weren't conquerors. They were scouts, cataloging systems and species for their true masters, a mysterious race known only as the Jannar. More disturbing still were the references to harvest protocols and resource extraction timelines for Earth and its colonies. "They're planning a full-scale invasion," Voss stated grimly as she reviewed the decoded information. "Not just of our system, but dozens of others they've identified." "Captain," Park called urgently from Tactical. "We're being scanned. They've detected us." Voss straightened. "Battle stations. Prepare for emergency FTL jump." Before the order could be executed, a new signal cut through their communications, not the now familiar telepathic broadcast of the Netheri, but a standard radio transmission. "Human vessel," came a voice, distinctly non-human but speaking perfect English. "This is Captain Trelvac of the Kasari Freedom Vessel Redemption. We have been monitoring the Netheri fleet from within their sensor blind spot. If you can detect this transmission, respond on the same frequency." Voss exchanged glances with Orloff. suspicion evident in both their expressions. "It could be a trap," Orlov cautioned. "Or it could be an ally," Voss countered. "Chen, verify the transmission source." After a tense moment, Chen confirmed, "The signal is coming from a position 12 million kilometers from the Netheri fleet. There's a small vessel there, using some kind of cloaking technology that's bending the Netheri scanning beams around it." Voss made her decision. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of the UES Harbinger. We receive you, Captain Trelvac." "Captain Voss," the alien voice responded with evident relief. "We have little time. The Netheri have detected your presence and are preparing to attack. We can guide you to our position. Our cloaking field can be extended to cover your vessel." It was a risk, but a calculated one. Voss gave the order, and the Harbinger moved as directed, narrowly avoiding the first wave of Netheri interceptors launched to investigate the anomaly they had detected. The Kasari vessel, when they finally saw it, was sleek and organic-looking, but in a way completely different from the Netheri ships. Where the Netheri vessels suggested predatory sea creatures, the Kasari craft resembled a bird of prey, its hull covered in what appeared to be interlocking metallic feathers. True to their word, the Kasari extended their cloaking field, concealing the Harbinger from Netheri sensors. In the safety of this technological sanctuary, Captain Trelvac transported aboard. The Kasari captain was humanoid, though clearly alien, tall and willowy with iridescent scales instead of skin, and 4 arms that moved with hypnotic grace. Behind him stood 2 similarly built beings, presumably officers from his vessel. "Captain Voss," Trelvac greeted with a formal bow. "Your reputation precedes you. News of a species that successfully repelled a Netheri incursion has spread quickly among those who resist the Jinnar Collective." Over the next hour, Trelvac explained the situation in grim detail. The Jinnar had been expanding their territory for centuries, using the Netheri as their scouts and shock troops. The Kasari had once been a proud spacefaring civilization until the Netheri arrived in their system, followed by the Jinnar harvesters. Now, the few remaining Kasari fought a guerrilla war against their oppressors, seeking allies among other species threatened by the Collective. "You tracked the Netheri here," Trelvac observed. "A bold move, and one that confirms what we hoped. Humans are warriors worthy of alliance." "We prefer peace," Voss corrected, "but we will fight when necessary." Trelvac's expression, a subtle shifting of scale patterns, suggested respect. "As do we all, Captain. But the Jinnar do not negotiate with species they believe they can conquer. The Netheri's report of your resistance has bought you time, nothing more. Within 1 of your months, a Jinnar harvest fleet will be dispatched to your system." The implications were clear. Earth needed to prepare, and quickly. But there was an opportunity here as well. An alliance with the Kasari and potentially other species resisting the Jinnar Collective. "We need to return to Earth with this information," Voss said. "Will you join us, Captain Trelvac? Your knowledge would be invaluable to our preparations." The Kasari captain seemed to consider this, his 4 hands performing an intricate gesture that might have been their equivalent of thoughtful contemplation. "I will do more than that," he finally declared. "I will call what remains of the Kasari fleet to stand with humanity. Together, perhaps we can achieve what neither of us could alone, the beginning of the end for Jinnar dominance." What followed was a daring escape plan. While the Harbinger prepared for its return journey to Earth, the Kasari vessel would create a diversion, a series of quantum detonations that would disrupt the Netheri sensors and communication. As the 2 captains finalized their strategy, an alarm sounded on both vessels. The Netheri had begun to move, adjusting their formation into an attack pattern focused directly on their position. "They found us," Trelvac stated, his scales darkening with concern. "Then we fight our way out," Voss replied, her voice carrying the same unwavering resolve that had seen humanity survive its first encounter with the aliens. Together. The battle that followed would later be known as the Revelation Engagement, the Harbinger and the Kasari vessel redemption. vastly outnumbered but fighting with the desperate courage of those protecting their civilizations, tore through the surprise Netheri formation. The Harbinger's superior firepower combined with the Redemption's unmatched maneuverability created a fighting force that the Netheri, accustomed to overwhelming lone vessels, had no effective strategy against. As they broke through the enemy line, Voss ordered a final message broadcast to the Netheri mothership. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of Earth. We know about the Jannar now. We know what you are and what you serve. Tell your masters that humanity and the Kasari stand together, and we will not be harvested. We will not be conquered. Earth is not your prey. It is the grave of any invasion force you send." As the Harbinger and Redemption entered FTL, leaving behind a scattered and damaged Netheri fleet, Captain Voss knew that they had just changed the course of human history. Earth would no longer expand into space with naive optimism, but neither would they cower in fear of what awaited them among the stars. The Netheri had thought humans would be easy prey. Their masters, the Jinnar Collective, would soon learn the same lesson. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would fight. They would ally with others who sought freedom, and they would prevail. For the first time since becoming captain of Earth's most powerful warship, Ilara Voss allowed herself a small smile. The Netheri had expected an easy conquest and instead found a formidable adversary. The Jinnar expected to face a single, isolated species and would instead confront a growing alliance of the determined. The aliens had made a grave miscalculation when they targeted Earth, and they would live or die to regret it.